I think they're desperate. I mean, they've chased themselves into an alleyway from which they know they can't withdraw. If they were to say, look, sorry, the last 10 years has been a failed experiment, and we can't possibly continue it for the next 10 years, which is what interest rates are predicting at the moment. We're going to go back to something very different. They're frightened at the dislocation. And of course, as we know, in asset markets, we've built ourselves into pricing structures which rely upon this nonsense being perpetuated.
So I was saying to Steve earlier, today is actually the 7-year anniversary of the original Whatever It Takes speech by Draghi. We all remember that in 2012. But, you know, going back to what we're saying, it is easy to criticize central banks, but where would the economy be if Draghi had not made that speech in 2012? Where would Eurozone be? Where would European banks be if they had not stepped in and said, look, we will be a lender of last resort. We're here to support the currency, and we will introduce this measure called OMT. They haven't triggered it yet, but the market knows that it's there, and they know that the ECB has got their back.
So the question also, what did people do before they did this when they had economic crises?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for all the
years,
years,
this is only a novel policy.
All our years of history, we've only ever perpetuated economic crises by smoothing them out and allowing them to be chronic rather than acute since the rise of the grand central bank technocracy that we now live in. And you talk about banks. Look at the capitalization of European banks. They're where they were when the ECB was first instituted. They're lower today compared with the pre-crisis peak. They're about.
No, that's not true. We're building a massive Deutsche Bank, which was, oh yeah, it was 112 euros at the height of the crisis. Now pottering around 7. Sorry, Jumani.
I think American banks have outperformed European banks by a factor of almost 3 in their own currency, admittedly. But that, you know, still there's enough there since the crisis. So what's the ECB done that's right?
The point is the ECB have one mandate. Their mandate is to deal with inflation. Draghi was very clear yesterday that they're not comfortable with where inflation is, but that is their mandate. It is time for politicians to step in and do their bit as well.
Well, that's the mandate is either shamanism, because 2% was a made-up number by the Bank of New Zealand and the Bank of Canada in the 1980s, and it has no bearing on all economic structures and all economic situations in all perpetuity, or it's disingenuous, and because they can't hit it, they can do all these other interactions, which are basically, as you say, stitching the politics of the Eurozone together and not solving the economic crisis.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersecci, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.